Final checks. Oh, final checks. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new video. Today's video we're going to be talking about everything showreel, because it's that weird time in between Christmas and New Year, and this is how I utilize this time is by creating my favorite piece of content every single year, which is my yearly showreel. So before we jump into my workflow, which can be the majority of this video, you can skip to this timestamp right here if you are interested in just the workflow. But we're going to talk about why you, as a videographer or a filmmaker, should actually have a showreel in the first place. So let me first explain why I believe that you, as a videographer or a filmmaker, need a showreel. Whenever you will go to a potential client or a job specifically that requires you to shoot and edit, you need a way to showcase what you do and show them or show that new client what they're likely to be expected or likely to expect from hiring you. In the same way, whenever you would go to a different job in a different field, you would hand in your CV. That's what your showreel is for the videography or filmmaking industry, is the same equivalent. So this piece of content and this showreel specifically should be the best of the best clips and the best of the best edits that you have done. I do it yearly, but you can also do master showreels, which is basically all of the footage that you think is the best out of your entire career. They take obviously a lot longer to create, and I will be creating one eventually, probably next year. Personally, everyone who I know who has a showreel and uses it on a daily basis, uses it to wow their client, wow their new customer, to win them over, to showcase the best of their best work, so that the client is aware and the client will be aware of the kind of quality that can be expected if I was hired to do an edit or if I was hired to do a production for them. So now we're clear on what a showreel actually is, I wanted to walk you through my process when it comes to actually creating this piece of unique content that you're going to be creating once a year or once a couple of months or etc. This main, this flagship piece of content that you're going to show to all of your potential new clients and customers. Now, before I jump into this workflow, I'm not suggesting for a second that this is the best way to do it. This is just the way I have found works very well for me, and I wanted to share that workflow with you because I think that anyone who is starting out and really thinking about creating their first showreel could take this video and really use it and really help them sort of understand how to go about creating this piece of content, because a showreel overall can be very intimidating when you first create one. So now we're going to go step by step, and I'm going to give you some advice on how I would personally tackle and how I am actually tackling building my new showreel. But I just wanted to jump in and say that it doesn't necessarily need to be, or you shouldn't compare yourself to other people's showreels, because the first one is always going to be mediocre in comparison, or not as good as it could be in comparison to your progression year on year on year on year. The reason why I do it at the same time every year is it gives me a very good yardstick to understand, okay, well, this is where I was a year ago, this is where I was 2 years ago, this is where I'm going to be now, so, and then again in a year and again in 2 years. So it gives me a very good yardstick to understand where my learning is and what I need to get better at, and then it gives me more actionable things that I can then go into the following year to say I'm going to focus on. For example, at this time last year, I had a conversation with myself and said I would like to shoot more interviews and get better at lighting interviews and helping people come across better on camera. So that's what I kind of, the kind of work I really looked for. And the main thing I wanted to just add in here before we go into the workflow is you should only put content or videos or specific clips in your showreel that you want more work of. So for example, say you have done lots of wedding films, but you don't actually want to continue to do wedding films, and you shouldn't necessarily showcase beautiful shots of couples kissing and wedding films and wedding specific industries. But that doesn't mean all that footage is going to go to waste. That means you just have to be a little bit more creative in how you edit them together. So you can use those detailed shots, you can use those cake shots, but you need to kind of build it in such a way that says that you're not necessarily a wedding filmmaker. And also something that you might find as you build showreels and as you do more and more work, you might have separate showreels. Another approach I've seen filmmakers do is not have a master reel, so to speak, but have a commercial based reel, a wedding based reel, etc. It's mainly just personal preference. Personally, I would like, and I still would like, to get hired by to do multiple different things and multiple different projects. Hence why I have one master reel that showcases my event work, that showcases my interview work, that showcases how I can create a promotional video for businesses and brands, because that is the niche that I'm in, and that's the things I want to get hired for more, and that's the kind of clients I want to attract to my business and my brand. So I'm going to showcase more of those things. So now we're going to move on to the workflow specifically, and I think it's really important to try to do some of this on paper, because what I find when you look at a screen for a long time is you can sometimes miss things, sometimes lose focus, and etc. And also remember to take breaks during this period of time. It's not meant to happen in one day. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some patience for you to do it right and make sure that it is that unique piece of content that's going to serve you for a year long, if not longer, depending on how else you're going to utilize it. And some of the clips you will also be using for a longer period of time. So the first thing I do, and the first thing I did, was go through my YouTube catalog of all the videos that I've created this year on YouTube specifically. And then I made a list of all the ones that I really thought were my best of my best work and really showcased what I wanted to showcase. And then after that, I went through my invoices and I looked at all my client videos as well. And I looked and thought, and I tried to remember and try to remind myself some projects I maybe did at the start of the year that possibly I'd forgotten that I had done because of how long ago I have done them, or specifically. But also something you just want to caveat this with is you need to make sure that you have been clear with the client that you intend to use some of the footage that you film for them and their projects for promotional material for your own company. Because if you don't, you can get in some very hot water with some of your clients. And I'm sure the majority of your clients and the majority of my clients are fine with me utilizing a section of what I film for them to showcase my videography skill. But that's where your relationship building and your communication skills really come in to really help you articulate to that client that you're not trying to do it under their back or under the table or etc. You're just trying to use it to help you grow your business and your brand. This of course would be under, if you have anything under NDAs as well, this would also be in the same book. So you may have to not include those if the NDAs are going to be passed or still in place when you ideally would like to release the show reel. So just don't include those. Or if you feel that it's really important and you've talked to the business or company who you are under an NDA with, so those who don't know, a non-disclosure agreement or an NDA basically means you cannot share certain bits of information or show certain bits of information before a certain period of time. And if you do have any questions on NDAs, then feel free to let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll be sure to make a follow-on video talking about my understandings of NDAs, but by no means am I a legal expert on these. So once you have your list of videos, you're going to then want to do what you usually do when you create a video, which is organize those beautiful folders in Premiere so you know exactly what kind of footage there is there. So I personally put my time lapses in one folder, then I put my finished rendered files in one order as well, and then I put any raw footage that I want to use into a separate folder as well. And then I try to make sure that each one's labeled so I can easily at quick glance understand what clip I'm talking about, what clip I'm looking at. Now, a brief tip here is if you have the raw footage still, great, use the raw footage instead of just using the rendered file. It's easier to build the initial edit from the rendered files, but then if you can, replace them with the just out of camera footage, because it is going to mean that quality is a little bit better because it goes through less layers of compression. So after you've got all your footage organized into your beautiful folders, you're going to create two compositions. The first one is going to be called First Pass. The second one is going to be called Main. So the main composition is going to be where you build your main show reel, where you add all your music, sound effects, sound design, etc. And we'll come on to that very, very soon. But first, you need to choose the best of the best clips. So what you're going to do is you're going to take each one of your folders, and that's why I would recommend, because it breaks it up a little bit, because otherwise this takes a very long time. It takes a very long time either way, but at least you can break it up into a matter of days or matter of hours or matter of sessions when you're actually going through and what's known as sifting the main footage. So all of the footage that you're planning to use in the show reel, what you're going to do is you're going to put them into First Pass. You're going to make a very long composition. And then you're going to go in and you're going to choose the very specific best of the best shots. Now you can do 2 passes if you feel more comfortable, so you just take a rough guide first time round. It's just going to take more time. Personally, I found the best scenario for me is I do 1 first pass quite slowly, and I normally catch all the best clips that I want to use, and then I move into the main edit. So when you've done your first pass and the majority of your clips are moved up in a layer, so how I'd recommend you do this, choosing between the pretty good clips and the best of the best clips, is just moving them 1 layer up on the video layer and moving the audio 1 layer down as well. If you want to use the audio, you need the audio. And then what you're going to do is you're going to copy all of that footage into your master composition or main composition. And then what you're going to do is you're going to select everything on layer 1, audio layer 1 and audio and video layer 1, and you're going to ripple delete that so it squishes all of those best of the best clips all together in a long line. And then what you're going to try and do is you're going to build your main story arc or main showreel piece. Specifically, you're going to build the main showreel. But of course with this you need music. So this is going to be the next thing that's probably going to take you a little bit to get right. Personally, I've used the same song for the last couple of years because I want to try and really fine tune and really showcase how my editing has come on, how my shooting has come on by using the same song and showing how I can actually cut to that song or edit to that song slightly differently every single year. Now, personally, I get all of my music for my videos from one of 2 places. Number 1 is Artlist and the other one is Epidemic Sound. Very, very popular music libraries here on YouTube for content creation purposes. Now, everything that I do for clients pretty much at the moment is for Artlist, and I use Artlist. I will be leaving affiliate links in the description down below. And what those affiliate links allow you and me to do is, if you would like to support me on this channel and you would like to support this kind of content, then you can click those links. It will cost you no extra money, but I get a little bit of a kickback whenever you do use those links, and do subscribe to the services. So they are paid for services, but I would highly, highly recommend them. And that's only because I've used them for many, many years before actually having affiliate links for them myself. So the main thing I would do when it comes to music is I would create a top 3. Once you have and once you're happy, then you can really choose and see what works and what you feel is going to work in your edit. Now, this is the bit where I'm going to be a little bit more flaky in regards to my advice, because it's very personal, it's very creative orientated. So for you need to make the creative decisions that you want to make. Personally, I like using the same song every year, and personally I like to follow the motto, and the advice motto I'm going to give you is less is more when it comes to a showy edit. So yes, of course you can add in your really crazy effects and your masking and your seamless transitions and all this, but if you do it too much, I have found that sometimes clients can get distracted from how well you are as a videographer and some of the footage that you're trying to show, because they get kind of a bit either sick or they get a little bit too, whoa, that's a bit crazy, too crazy. So sometimes it's less is more, and you should use those techniques and use those specific transitions, like the punch-ins, like the swirls, like the masks, when is relevant to the footage that you're talking about, and is it going to actually help you articulate the story, which leads me on to this next piece of advice, better by using those transitions. And something which I like to do as well in every video, and I think you should do as well, is create a level of story and try to have some continuation through your showreel. So it could be, for example, the sun rises in the first set of location where you are going to be showcasing. So in my case, it will be Salisbury. Going to show the sun rising to show all the day stuff. Then we're going to show some sunset shots and some sunset stuff, so you can, as the viewer, feel like the sun is setting and you can tell where we are. And then you're going to showcase everything at night, and then etc. And then if you have multiple locations as well, you can do clever things by layering those stories as well. But this is where the creative aspects, and you as a creative editor should really let your creativity run a little bit wild. But you should just keep in mind these previous tips that I just mentioned, because I think it will help you kind of really build kind of a strong backbone on your showreel. So after you have created that and you've kind of got to around between a minute to like a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes, I would say if it goes any longer than that, you're going to start dragging. And to be honest, the majority of people who are going to watch it, your potential clients, your potential customers, are not going to watch beyond 2 minutes, because they'll kind of get the idea of what you can do. And that's kind of the point of it. And that's the point of this piece of content. So I don't want you to waste your time by spending hours on the last 2 minutes when no one's going to see it. So let's aim, I would say let's aim for around 2 minutes on these showreels at max. But less is more in this respect as well. If you can only make a 40-second edit, create a 40-second showreel. If you can only make a 1-minute edit, create a 1-minute showreel. The point is to show the best quality of work over a quantity of work. So when you are done and you're happy and you've done your color work, you've done your color grading, you've done your sound design, you've done everything that you feel you can to make this piece as good as it possibly can be, you're going to render it out. You're going to watch it back. You're going to think to yourself, is there anything else that I can do specifically or I can add to this video to make it better? And then if the answer is no, you're going to leave it for 2 days. That's what I would do. This is what I do. Leave it for a couple of days, then come back and watch it again. Ask yourself the same question. Is there anything I can do to make this better? Is there any ideas or any other things? Or, oh, maybe that transition could be a little bit cleaner. Or maybe that cut could be a little bit tighter. Or maybe I shouldn't use that transition, even though I thought it was a really great idea first time around. And then you keep doing this process until you have no feedback for yourself at all. So then what you have, so you do this a couple of days, and then you look after a couple of days. Do you think there's anything you can make better about this film? If so, make the changes, re-render it as a different version, because you might want to, you know, go back. And the same with the composition. You can copy and paste the composition. So you make any changes to the second version of the composition, you can always go revert back to the previous version without having to redo work, which is very annoying and no one likes doing, especially when it's time-consuming work. So once you're there, once you're happy, and you don't think, and you've had a couple of days, and you've looked at it and you've gone, nope, this is the best piece of content that I can create right now, then the best thing is to do is just to post it. Simply just post it out on YouTube, post it on socials, and etc. And then you're just going to see what happens. The reality of the fact is the majority of people are not going to see it. The point is not for it to magically get loads of views and then you have loads of DMs about who wants to work with you because your showreel was so amazing. That's not the point. The point is to have a link on YouTube or social or Vimeo or wherever you're going to place it to show when you have an inquiry or when you have a conversation with a new client and they ask, oh, can I see some of your work? This is the video you show them. This is the video you hand them to showcase what you can do, because it will be that, as I said, sprinkling on top of the cake whenever they are looking to hire you and they really like you, they really want to work with you, you sound like you know what you're talking about, you're a good person, you're a bubbly person to work with, they think you're going to get on with the team and they think you're going to be able to work with them, but they want to know whether the product's any good. So this is how you prove your product is good. So, and then as you iterate and as you get better, as you do this years and years and years and years and years, you'll look back on your first showreel and go, wow, that was terrible. But I will be doing some other videos talking about some of the detail, a little bit more in detail about some of the strategies that you can use when it comes to posting. Next week, we're doing a couple of things as well. We're talking about stories mostly. I'm going to be doing that story video, hopefully. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, then make sure to leave it a like. I'd love to hear what you think in the comment section down below. And if you are creating your showreel in this interesting time and you're creating your first one, then make sure to tag me on whatever social media channel it is. It's Brunton Media everywhere, unless you're on LinkedIn, then it's Cotton Brunton. And make sure to, yeah, let me know. I would love to see your showreels and give you some feedback as well. So thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, as I say, I would love a subscribe to the channel. I really, really appreciate it. I really appreciate the fact that the channel's growing. We're gaining momentum and I hope you're enjoying the content. More to come very, very soon. Have a good new year and I'll see you very, very soon.